All right, meat pack salami squad around the world. It is your boys, Mike Richman, Mike Rogers in the cut. He's over this way. What is up, my guy?
What's going on, Mike?
We're about to get into the head coaching matchup of Super Bowl 55. But before we get into that, we got to show you a funny ass picture from shout out NFL Memes on Facebook. They made this, but I just saw this and I was like, whoa, like this is too accurate, brother.
Accurate. Wow.
Like the Mythbusters about to face it off here, dude.
That's actually really insane.
Like if you look at the glasses, the facial hair on both of them, it's just literally the same thing. Look at Bruce Arians and Adam's face. They got the same shades on the top and bottom.
Yeah,
like,
the orange melting into the white and like the thick glasses and yeah.
That's scary accurate. So
and
I mean,
left, you got a couple of walruses over there.
Literally. So we got that from NFL Memes. Shout out them. Check them out on Facebook. Give them a like for sure. That picture's hilarious.
Not our picture.
Not our picture. But we're going to go ahead and just break it down here, boys. We're going to go ahead and get into these matchups. We're going to talk a little bit about the history about these coaches, and then as well as just, you know, who we think's kind of got the edge in this matchup in the Super Bowl 55 on them. So
55 on them.
We're going to go ahead and start out with the boy Bruce Arians down here. And before I get into this, actually, I just want to say, you know, both these coaches kind of look the same, dude.
They got the same vibe going.
Definitely similar looking dudes. But Bruce Arians, you know, from William Penn High School, actually in Pennsylvania. Shout out my Ultimate players, dude. That place be breeding Ultimate players. I know no one knows what that's about, but we'll find out in the future. So
shout out William Penn.
This boy started his grad assistant coaching, started his coaching career as a grad assistant at Virginia Tech. And then from there, honestly, just goes all over the place in college. He moved from Virginia to Mississippi State as a wide receiver and running back coach, and then over to Alabama as a running back coach. And then from 1983 to 1988, he landed a head coaching job at Temple University. From there, he was hired into the NFL as Kansas City's running back coach for 3 years, and then didn't really work out with him in the NFL. Goes back to college, back to Mississippi State, where he started to get the higher roles. When he goes back, he gets hired as the offensive coordinator. And then from Mississippi, I know we're getting a little lost here, goes back to the NFL, gets hired as the Saints tight end coach, and then back to college as an as Alabama's offensive coordinator. So, I mean, just all over the place with his career. That's what I'm saying. Many different jobs. And then 1998, he was hired as the Colts QB coach, and then would ultimately get the interim head coach job. And then from there, you know, he was just up there. And then just like in college, when he's in the NFL, he moved around a lot. Like I said, he started his career with the Colts. He worked for the Browns and the Steelers as well. So, I mean, he's just been all over the place. So in 2012, like I said, he got that interim head coach job as the Colts. And then since 2012 has never been demoted. So after that interim head season, the Cardinals hired him as head coach for 4 years. And then again in 2019, the Bucs hired him as head coach for the Bucs. So like you just noted there, he has two assistant coach Super Bowl rings with the Steelers in Super Bowl 40 and 53. And just overall NFL career, he's 80, 49, and 1. And he's got 2 rings for him. And like you said, I mean, Bruce Arians just got experience all over the gaff. I mean, in college and NFL, I mean, he's just really been all over the place. So, I mean, that's kind of like, you know, I don't feel bad about that. I mean, he's seen so many different facets of the game from so many different teams, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And that, you know, that goes a long way. Like I said, a storied career, you know, obviously Andy Reid has been more successful.
We'll get into that. Don't worry.
At the head coaching position. But, hey, Bruce Arians has been around the block, man. He's been in the game of football for a long, long time. Like you said, he's seen it at a college level. He's seen it at a pro level, at multiple assistant positions. And then obviously has a nice little record there for himself as a head coach. And then obviously, having those 2 championships with the Steelers, going on those deep playoff runs, this and that. You know, Bruce Arians has been around the block, man. He ain't no scrub. You know, obviously – more or less on the offensive side of things for Tampa this year. That's pretty much Tom Brady's gig. You know, Bruce Arians kind of just gave him the formula and said, I'm going to let Tom do it, which I can't fucking blame him. I do that too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I can sit and watch. But Bruce Arians, man, ain't no scrub. I do like him from an experience standpoint, man. He knows what the fuck he's doing out there.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. So we're just going to go ahead and dive into the other side. We got Kansas City's
Big
finest
Red!
Andy Big Red Reid. Shout out to the boy. So we're just going to dive into his history a little bit as well here. So he started cheeseburgers. He also started as a grad assistant at Brigham Young in 1982. Stayed in college football for a little bit. We're not going to talk about his college football career because it wasn't that. It wasn't that crazy. So then in 1992, we got his first job in the NFL as the Packers tight end / assistant offensive line coach. So, I mean, that's a weird ass job, but it's his into the NFL. And then from there, he won his first Super Bowl ring in 1997 with Favre and the Packers. So, I mean, he got that ring right there. 1997, he also was upgraded to the Packers QB coach. And then he did that for a couple years. 2 years later, 1999, his fucking entire life would change. Got that head coaching job in Philly. And, you know, we obviously know, me being a Philly fan, I know all about Andy Reid. Dude's been coaching before I was born. All right. So he spent 14 years in Philly. Reid compiled the highest win total and best win percentage, as well as the most playoff victories in Philadelphia team history, dude. I'm talking 9 playoff runs, 6 division titles, 5 trips to NFC conference championship games. 4 of those are consecutive.
4 of them.
That's ridiculous. Nice. And then as well as that 2005 Super Bowl appearance with the Eagles. You know, they obviously didn't win, but just looking at what he did in Philly, I mean, that's a whole nother career by itself. I mean, the man's out here been around, and he's just so established. And not to mention, since 2001 to 2012, he was also acting as the Eagles GM. So, I mean, not only was he doing all these coaching, like, he was making huge decisions for that franchise. You know what I mean? So Andy Reid obviously has that experience. And then, you know, going into 2012, he moved on, went to KC. And at the time when he came into head coach, Kansas City was on an 8-game playoff losing streak. So they made it 8 years in a row, but just lost the first game. Since then, since he was hired in 2012, Kansas City has been led to 7 postseasons, 5 division titles, 3 AFC conference championship games, 2 Super Bowl appearances, and then obviously they won Super Bowl 54 last year. And then now they're right back in it again, about to possibly repeat Super Bowl wins, winning Super Bowl 55. I mean, like we said, Andy Reid is a historic coach. We're talking 238 and 144 losses with that 1 tie. I mean, that's just an incredible, incredible career. So, I mean,
he's got the Big Red, dude. Like I'm saying, you know, you look at the history of the game and the NFL as a total, you know, you could maybe say Bill Belichick, Vince Lombardi, Bill Walsh. I mean, who are better coaches after that than Andy Reid?
Think about the coaching tree that he's given NFL.
For sure. Gigantic. You know, John Harbaugh came from Andy Reid's coaching tree. John Gruden. We're looking at Todd Bowles, Sean McDermott, a lot of guys like that who were understudies of Andy Reid. You know what I'm saying? And one of the biggest things I will give Andy Reid, you know, especially from what we've seen in Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes, obviously having the intuition to see the potential in Patrick Mahomes and going out and getting him. And, you know, the big thing with Andy Reid is obviously the Chiefs have had Bieniemy for a couple years as the offensive coordinator, but Andy Reid is the play caller for that team and gets it right. And obviously Patrick Mahomes is an all-time talent, I feel like. But, you know, that combo right there, you know, if you took Andy Reid's career just in Kansas City in a vacuum, you could say, you know, Patrick Mahomes might be the more important piece to that puzzle. But because of those 14 years in Philly,
you can't forget who developed Mahomes, dude.
Yeah, that Philly team was great for a long time. Obviously, the McNabb era and all that, and all those great players that came out of there. But, you know, Andy Reid, like I said, dude, it's just at the end of the day, there's not a lot to say about the guy. Just an absolute legend.
Hall of Fame coach, dude. That's a golden jacket right there.
All-time great. I think by the time he's done, I know he's older. I think he's 60-some. You know, but by the time he's done, depending on the combo between him and Mahomes, they could run up a couple more chips, dude. I mean, he's right there with Belichick. I mean, he kind of already is, But
bring the ring into the conversation.
Yeah, you bring the rings into the
I
conversation.
mean, if you leave that out of the conversation, you're 100% right. I mean, that's everything you want out of an NFL coach, and he's been doing it like literally since we've been alive, bro.
For a minute, just a legend, Hall of Fame. We're seeing two great minds. The two guys at the helms of these teams about to go battle this next Sunday, man. Like I said, obviously from a coaching experience point, obviously I think Andy Reid does hold the advantage, obviously in his hands with that one. But just do want to reassure to the fans watching at home, man, Bruce Arians ain't no scrub, and obviously with the mind of Tom Brady, that's a deadly, deadly combo. But Andy Reid's just that dude, man. Big Red, go get you a cheeseburger, fucking win some football games, dude, Andy Reid, son.
Hell yeah, brother. So, I mean, yeah, I kind of agree with you there. I like Andy Reid a little bit better. It's definitely a little bit of Philly bias coming in there, just looking at it as a whole perspective. But, I mean, like you said, the head coach is obviously very important in these organizations, but football is a team sport, and it's going to come down to the 11 people on the field at that time and then the play call that they were given. So, we'll see what happens in Super Bowl 55, boys. We are the Meat Pack. We out of here.
Fuck out of here.